I want you to imagine something. You're standing on a mountain peak. The sun is setting. The valley below is glowing orange and gold. And for the first time in your life, you're not thinking about yesterday. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're just breathing. A listener sent me a story about the day he climbed a mountain on LSD. And he said when he got to the top, the mountain looked back at him, and it had something to say. Before we begin, this video is not meant to advocate or glorify the use of any substances. It is intended strictly as an educational exploration of altered states of consciousness. Please, do not attempt to recreate anything discussed here. Welcome back to Mind Glitch Stories. I'm Ryan. This is a listener-submitted story inspired by real experiences people have shared online. Tonight's story is called, "The Mountain Taught Me How to Breathe." The listener's name, let's call him Eli. Eli is 28, works a desk job, lives in a city. For years, he'd been feeling stuck. Not depressed exactly, just numb. Like he was watching his life happen instead of living it. So one summer, he decided to do something different. He took a week off work, drove 6 hours to a national park, and planned a solo camping trip in the mountains. Eli pitched his tent near a trailhead, secluded, quiet, surrounded by pine trees. He'd been planning this for weeks, downloaded offline maps, packed enough water and food for 2 days, told a friend, "I'm hiking to Eagle Peak tomorrow. If I don't check in by sunset, call someone." That night, sitting by the fire, Eli made a decision. He'd brought a single tab with him, not to party, not to escape, but to see. To see the mountains the way people online describe, alive, breathing, infinite. Eli woke up at sunrise, 5:30 a.m. The air was cold, the sky was clear. He made coffee on his camp stove, ate a protein bar. Then he looked at the trail ahead and thought, "This is either the best idea I've ever had, or the dumbest." He committed at 6 a.m. Then he started hiking. For the first hour, Eli felt normal. Just hiking, boots crunching on gravel, birds calling from the trees. Then, around mile 2, he noticed the light was different. Not brighter, just more. Like someone had turned up the resolution on the world. The bark on the trees had texture he'd never noticed. The moss on the rocks looked like tiny forests. And the sound of the wind, it wasn't just wind anymore. It was a language. Eli said he stopped to drink water. And when he looked up, the trees were swaying, not because of the wind. They were swaying with the wind, like they were dancing. He said it felt like the forest was aware of him, not watching, just acknowledging, like, "Oh, you're here, welcome." Eli kept hiking, but time stopped making sense. He'd check his watch, 8:47 a.m., look up at the sky for what felt like 5 minutes. Check again, 9:52 a.m. He said it wasn't scary, it was freeing. Like time was something he'd been carrying in his backpack, and he'd finally put it down. After 3 hours, Eli reached the summit, Eagle Peak, 10,200 feet. And when he stepped onto the flat stone at the top, he stopped. Because the view wasn't just a view, it was everything. Valleys stretching for miles, mountains layered like waves, the sky so blue it hurt. And Eli said he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Small. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Like, I'm just a tiny part of this, and that's okay. Eli sat on the edge of the peak, legs dangling over a 200-foot drop, and he said he felt the mountain respond. Not with words, with presence. Like the mountain was saying, "You've been holding your breath for years. Stop. Just breathe." And Eli realized he had been holding his breath, metaphorically, literally. He'd been tense for so long he forgot what it felt like to just be. So Eli tried it. He inhaled, slowly, deeply, filling his lungs completely. Held it, exhaled. And on that exhale, something released. Not tears, just tension. Years of it. He said he sat there for an hour, maybe longer, just breathing. In sync with the wind, in sync with the mountain, in sync with himself. Eventually, Eli stood up, started the hike back down. And the trip was still going, but gentler now. The trees still looked alive, the rocks still had stories. But Eli said he felt lighter, like he'd left something heavy at the top. That night, back at camp, Eli sat by the fire. The trip had mostly faded, but the lesson hadn't. He wrote in his journal, "The mountain didn't teach me anything new. It reminded me of something I'd forgotten. I'm allowed to just exist. I don't have to be productive. I don't have to be on. I can just breathe." Ely told me that trip changed something fundamental. Not overnight, but slowly. He started taking walks during lunch breaks. He stopped checking his phone first thing in the morning. He started noticing small things, clouds, birds, the way light hits buildings. And he said it sounds cheesy, but he started breathing again. Eli wrote, "I don't know if the mountain was real or if it was just my brain, but I don't think it matters because what I learned was real. You don't need to go to the mountains to feel alive. You just need to stop long enough to notice you're already here." So here's my question for you. When was the last time you felt truly present? Not thinking about work or stress or your phone, just here. Tell me in the comments, what's a place that makes you feel alive? And if stories like this remind you to slow down and breathe, subscribe to Mind Glitch Stories. Because the best trips aren't about escaping life, they're about remembering how to live it.